Hey Internet, Highway 47 here. This is Dracofunk, and this is my reusable space program. Now, last time we left off, the Ares pod had docked with this liquid oxygen tank that's destined for the moon. It is going to transport it back to the space station and place it on the end of the space bus. Now, before I can do that, I have to actually dock to the other end of it. Now, this is a dumb pod, and by dumb, I don't mean it's dumb. I mean that it has no control units, no RCS, so basically the Ares has to do all the docking itself. That's why it pulled it from the booster. And now I'm going to take down the solar panels, mainly because I'm just want to make sure I don't break them off as I try and fly behind it. Dock with the other end. Now the space bus only has a small docking port, so that's why I have to flip around and dock to the end and put it on the back of it. Unfortunately today we don't have Shaggy B, and the reason is, guys, I messed up. And what happened was I had a whole bunch to do in this episode. You may notice this is a little bit longer episode. It was actually even longer than it is now. And because it was longer and I tried to be fancy, I messed up the editing. And me and Shaggy B actually did record this episode, but the editing, I don't know what had happened. Stuff ended up out of order. There were blank spots. It was bad. And it's just because I tried to do too much. This was basically 3 sessions of recording, and I tried to edit it and get fancy, and it just didn't work. So I'm sorry that Shaggy's not here, but it's just me today. Now that I'm docked, I will just fly this and rendezvous with the Enterprise station. I'm just going around trying to find it so I can set it as my target. I'll use the rendezvous planner to help just get my approach, and I'm not going to bother showing you all that because you've seen it before. So here I am approaching the station using my RCS to slow down, and the reason being is right now I'm trying to we're in a fuel crunch out here in space, and I'm working on fixing that. It's not going as well as I'd hoped, but that's okay. That's neither here nor there. Right now, I'm just slowing down, trying to get closer, adjust my heading, and I'm not worried so much about RCS because there's a good amount of RCS still on the station. That'll probably become a problem later, but that's not now. It's liquid fuel that I'm actually running low on, and I need to refill the fuel tanks of the space bus so it can get this tank. It's 4 passengers. Well, actually, it doesn't have any passengers yet. I'm getting ahead of myself. It is going to have 4 passengers that I'm going to have to fly up from Kerbal and this fuel tank. So it's going to be doing double duty. It's going to be passenger service and some cargo service. And here I am approaching the station, the hub of activity above Kerbal. Just getting a little bit closer, and I'm going to have to flip down and get this attached. I'm not doing too bad right now. There's Jebediah in the Liberator. I had hoped that Jebediah would actually be able to run a cargo mission to the moon in the next episode, but because of our fuel crunch. It's just not going to work out. Jebediah has an engagement that he's going to have to keep. So he's going to actually have to take a little detour back to Kerbin. Just for a little bit. Don't worry though, he'll come back up here and assume his place on the Liberator. And hopefully by the time he gets back, I can refuel the Liberator and he can make his way around the Kerbin system. Just trying to reorient the Ares craft to get it in a good position for docking, and it takes me way longer than I thought. This is about 20 minutes later, and I might have hit it a little bit too hard, but that's okay. You know, things shake around in space a little bit. But I eventually get it to connect. There we go. I'm going to leave it there because I have a couple other things I'm going to launch into orbit, and I'm going to send the Ares craft to go fetch. But before I can do that, we need to get these passengers up from Kerbin to rendezvous with the station so they can hitch a ride on the space bus to the moon. So we got Winreed, Neildew, Melhat, and Marbert. And they're destined for Columbia Station. And I'm flying them up to Enterprise Station on this SSTO. SSTO is the single stage orbit. 4 Rapier engines. I have 2 of them. They're the you just need to get them, you need to get altitude with speed. If you don't get the speed with the altitude, you're not going to make it into space. It's not going to be an efficient flight. And I need to get into space with enough fuel to rendezvous with the space station. And I'm actually lighting the Poodle engines up because once the Rapier engines switch to closed cycle mode, they're not quite as efficient, but I got myself up to a 76-degree apoapsis, and I got a good amount of delta V. I'm still going to have to use the Rapier engines a little bit just so I can punch enough thrust to get me up there, and that gets us to about a 99 apoapsis, 73% degree periapsis. And this is just me using the rendezvous planner and rendezvousing with the station. I've used a little bit more delta V than I would like, and now is the hard part, is docking with the station. Now the docking port is on top of the SSTO, and I don't remember if I mentioned it, that the docking port I want to get to with the SSTO is just above all those fuel ports. There's actually another one on the other side, so I could have two SSTOs docked there. Of course, I could be any other type of craft with a small docking port, but the SSTO is the one that I actually intended for the docking port. And of course, with my luck, I'm doing the docking in the dark. That's okay. I'm using the nav ball. I've somehow managed to actually get this on a good spot where I'm pretty much right on line. Now, I don't have a lot of the control I would like to with this craft, just because it's hard to place RCS on SSTOs and have them in the best spot. And then also the awkwardness of docking. And I really, really, really should have taken the solar panels down on the station and on the SSTO, and I've left them both up. So if I'm not really careful here, it'd be real easy to break the solar panels on the SSTO and the space station. And that would be bad. I'm just trying to get that docking ports lined up. So I am controlling the SSTO from the docking port. And I've targeted that docking port. And I'm getting close. I'm still worried about those solar panels, and I really, really wish I'd taken them in. I'm so close, and everything is actually going pretty well. I get to the point where everything's lining up and it looks like they're touching. I have contact, but I'm not docked. And at this point, I'm really, those solar panels are so close. But I'm not docked. The docking ports are lined up perfectly with one another, but they're not connecting, and I don't know why. I'm just trying to line up everything as best I can. Let's see, get a closer look. And even, it's really close in there, but if you look, the docking ports are almost perfectly aligned, and usually at this point, the magnetism in them just draws them together and they connect and everything's fine, but that's not happening. You see the Highway 47 logo right there. And they're just really close. Oh, there it goes. And see how close those solar panels are on the SSTO to the space station solar panels. I am so lucky. And I'm just... I really wanted to get a view of the space station with all these ships on it in the light. Because so much of what I've been doing is docking in the dark. So here is launch number 18. It is a spare orbital. I thought it was going to go to the station and be on one of those full large docking ports that. Yeah, this is a really light load. I just barely needed the boosters, but they help get it into orbit. I probably could have put one of the little trash can boosters on. And I'm going to send the Ares craft to go dock. Not dock. Well, yes, dock. But it's going to retrieve the ore tank. I just skipped all of that rendezvous mission because it's boring. And here I am docking with it, fiddling with the docking. You know, taking a little bit longer than I'd like. Use the booster, which has a control unit on it, to turn both craft facing each other. And once I've done that, I will... Here we go. Let's do the docking in real time. I hope I'm getting better at docking. Almost there. Hopefully I don't hit it too hard. I like all these cinematic shots, but sometimes I think I get everything lined up, and I switch to the cinematic mode so we can get a clear view, and then it doesn't turn out right. So here is how we're fixing the fuel problem. Up on the moon, the mining craft is doing its thing and mining, and it's going to be doing that for a long time. And that's enough of that, because it's literally about half an hour of mining. Oh, so what am I doing here? Since the Ares craft has left, the passengers from the SSTO have now boarded the space bus. It's time to have the space bus fulfill its primary mission, and that is ferrying people between Enterprise Station and Columbia Station. Luckily, we've been able to refuel the space bus from fuel that was in that fuel tank, which is now empty. And here I am getting the moon encounter. I don't remember if I show... I think the next thing I show is the space bus. Oh, back to mining. The mining craft is still down there mining. It is a ballet between getting enough electric charge to mine, filling the ore tank, converting it to fuel, draining the electric charge, and back and forth. And you can only do this in the daytime. And I'm going to find that by the time I do all that, get the mining ship back into orbit and dock with the moon station, that it's working, but I'm not getting enough of a return. And next episode, I'll show you just how much mining I've been doing, and landing on the moon, taking off, mining, returning to the station, and it's just not enough, because I need to refill all the fuel tanks on the space bus, the Ares 2 that's up there, the space utility vehicle, which really should be doing more of bringing equipment back and forth from Enterprise Station. It's just not enough. And here I am trying to dock. I did take in the solar panels from the Ares craft, because I probably would have broken them. And I'm just trying to dock with the moon station as best I can, and it was kind of a sloppy attempt. But there we go. Now I can show you the current status of the Columbia Station. The 4 passengers are going to go into the crew compartment. And here we are. This is launch 19. It's an RCS crew. This is the same RCS crew. Back to the station. I'm going to send you up to the station as well. RCS. And here's the Ares ship. It is going to dock or meet up with the RCS tank and take the RCS tank and the ore tank back to Enterprise Station. And as I said, I had wanted the Jebediah and the Liberator to actually carry both of those tanks to the moon base so he could, kind of oversee how the moon base is going, since, he's kind of the head man. Now, the RCS tank does have a control unit on it, and RCS, I'm just using that to meet up with the Ares and make docking easier. And while I'm there filling up the Ares craft with RCS, here's a nice silhouetted shot of the two tanks, the ore tank and the RCS with the Ares. And here is a video of me trying to dock, trying to get that cinematic approach. I thought I had it pretty straight, and just trying to go back and forth and make sure I'm right on center. And there we go. And I don't want to leave the Ares craft on the bottom because I feel like it's too far away, and it should get its own docking port. And this should be a fairly easy docking attempt, and I'm really, really mucking it up. And this is sped up 4 times. Taking the solar panels in. I should have taken the solar panels in on the Liberator. I'm just trying to use the nav ball and just sight to get there. And I started to go back and change my angle when I accidentally just was suddenly docked. Which, that's fine. Worked out better than expected. So here we are. We have the Liberator there, the Ares 1 craft, the SSTO, 2 tanks that need to be towed out to the moon, and I don't know who's going to be towing them there. Jebediah, next episode, is going to need to board the SSTO, and I'm going to try and fly the SSTO back down to Kerbin and land at the Space Center. Let's see, I was hoping to have better views from inside this is supposed to be the cupola of the space station, and I'm really disappointed. I like those. I like to have good views, but nobody can really see anything like I had imagined. But that's okay. So join me next time, and we'll get some things done.